I was rinsing dishes when Delaney placed her phone on the counter, speaker already on, her voice dripping with entitlement. "Mom," she said, not bothering to ask if I was busy. "We're coming over everyone. My parents, my brothers, my sisters, their kids, and a couple of cousins. 20 in total. We'll be there in about 2 hours. Hope you have enough food." The soapy plate slipped a little in my hands. 2 hours, 20 people. My kitchen, already spotless and quiet, suddenly felt smaller than ever. I swallowed hard, keeping my voice steady. "Delaney, you mean all of 'em here?" Her tone didn't waver. "Yes. Here! It's your house. Big enough. And besides, you always say you're lonely. We'll stay 2 weeks? Maybe longer? Oh, and don't forget, Camden likes steak. Dad likes pork chops. The kids are picky eaters, but you'll figure it out. Anyway, see you soon." The call ended. Just like that. No room for my answer. The suds from the sink seemed to burn against my skin. I stared out the window above the basin, my garden bathed in sunlight, the lavender swaying gently in the breeze. This was supposed to be my haven, my first real peace in years. And now, with a single call, it was about to be invaded. For a moment, I just stood there. The refrigerator hummed. The wind chimes clinked faintly outside. My heart thudded like a drum. 20 people, 2 hours. I dried my hands slowly, methodically, as though buying time would change anything. When Camden came through the doorway an hour later, he looked hesitant. My son, my only boy, who always avoided confrontation, who thought silence was the safest response. "Mom," he said gently, "you know Delaney means well. Family is family. This is temporary." Temporary? That word had become poison. I had learned long ago that in-laws temporary meant indefinite. It meant weeks, months, sometimes years of living under someone else's roof, leaving messes, draining energy, and assuming generosity was endless. I turned to him, folding the towel in my hands. "Camden, 20 people is not family visiting. It's an occupation." He shifted, uneasy. "They'll help out. They'll pitch in. You won't even notice." "Don't," I interrupted softly. "Don't pretend you believe that. He couldn't meet my eyes. He never could when he knew I was right." By the time the first van rolled into the driveway, my decision had already been made. I would not be used again. Delaney stepped out first, her hair perfect, sunglasses perched like a crown. She didn't wave. She didn't thank me. She just announced, "We're here," as if she were the hostess and I was the guest. Behind her spilled the army. Rolling suitcases, plastic bags stuffed with snacks, folding chairs, duffel bags, children, tugging at shoelaces, adults, barking at each other about who forgot the cooler. They didn't knock. They didn't pause. They streamed into my house as though it were theirs. Within minutes. My living room was a campsite. Shoes scattered, music blaring from someone's Bluetooth speaker. A child opened my refrigerator without asking. Another toppled the potted fern I'd nurtured for months. Delaney clapped her hands. "Mom, we'll need fresh sheets in the bedrooms. Extra towels? And maybe you could whip up something easy for dinner. Nothing too heavy? Maybe lasagna. Oh, and tomorrow we'll grill." You do have enough propane, right? Her voice was sugar, but her eyes sharp, calculating, dared me to protest. I smiled, just a small curve of the lips, nothing more. Because by then, the plan had already formed. That night, when the house was thundering with voices, when laughter and shouting bounced against the walls, I retreated to my room, my sanctuary. I closed the door softly and pulled out the folder I'd prepared weeks earlier. The short-term rental agreement, the occupancy policy, the neighborhood restrictions, every clause highlighted, every signature line empty. I wasn't naive. I had known something like this might come. Delaney's tone had been shifting for months. Comments about our house, our guest rooms, our garden. So I had prepared. And now, with 20 bodies crammed into my space, I finally had my proof. The next morning, I called Deputy Clem. He wasn't just an officer. He was an old friend, steady, calm, a man who believed in boundaries. When he arrived that afternoon, clipboard in hand, the chaos of my living room faltered, conversations hushed. Eyes darted toward the badge at his hip. Everyone here, Clem announced evenly, will need to sign the agreement or vacate by this evening. Delaney's face, blanched. Camden's mouth opened, closed, then opened again. Kinley, her cousin, dropped the paper like it had burned her fingers. You're unbelievable, Delaney spat. I folded my hands calmly. You're welcome to stay, but not for free. Not anymore. Her voice cracked. You're not actually enforcing this, are you? I didn't blink. The hours that followed were a storm of mutters, protests, slammed doors, whispered arguments. When the aunt snapped, you think you can charge us like some damn Airbnb? We're family. I turned to her. No, you're Kinley's family, not mine. You've never invited me anywhere, never once sent me a card. But for 5 days, I've cleaned up your messes. Camden chewed his cheek, that old tell of his guilt. He knew I was right, but he wouldn't say it aloud. By sunset, the shuffle began. Suitcases dragged, trunks slammed, voices bitter and low. A pot tipped over on the porch, ceramic shattering against stone. No apology. No glance back. From one window, a cousin hurled words like stones. You'll die alone. I didn't flinch. I stood at the gate, clipboard in hand, heavy, not with paper, but with the weight of finally choosing myself. When the last car turned the corner, silence fell. Not empty silence. Not aching silence, but peace. The kind of quiet that seeps into your bones and whispers, you did it. I lit a candle on the counter, the one I had been saving for after. Its flame flickered against the tiles. Soft shadows dancing where laughter had once been too loud. I sat at the dining table not to clean, not to write warnings, not to tally receipts, just to sit, and the quiet was full of dignity, full of space that was finally mine again. Camden left an envelope, tight, careful handwriting like he used in school. I hope one day you see how cold this was. No signature, no apology, just that line. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I fed it to the fire. The flames devoured it quickly, curling the paper as though it wanted to be forgiven. I did not grant it that dot the following morning. I walked the house slowly. Towels crumpled on floors, makeup smeared across the bathroom sink, beds unmade, sheets half hanging, pizza crust on a windowsill. I did not clean it. Instead, I called a service. 2 women arrived, efficient and kind. I made them tea, handed them gloves, and let them do the work. When they finished, I documented everything. Photos, notes, damages, hours logged. Then I emailed Delaney. Final statement for your stay. The subject read. Attached was the invoice. Attached was her signature on the agreement. Bold, impatient strokes I recognized even now. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't spite. It was boundaries, math, facts, and I didn't wait for a reply. Days passed. The house shifted back into itself. The garden soil loosened under my hands as I replanted lavender. The weeds gave way. The stepping stones fell back into place. A neighbor waved from the sidewalk. Another brought muffins. Welcome, she said simply, handing over the tin. No questions. No demands. Just welcome. Inside, the silence wasn't lonely. It was restorative. No one shouted down the hall. No one rifled through my pantry. No one sneered when I used the good mug. This wasn't emptiness. This was freedom. And when Camden's text came, "Can we clear the air?" I didn't reply. Not out of anger, but because I was finished. Because when people are used to taking, they mistake boundaries for betrayal, but I wasn't betraying anyone. I was preserving myself. And as the wind chimes swayed softly outside, I realized something I should have learned long ago. Respect doesn't ask for permission. It simply exists. And mine would never be trampled again. If you've been with me through this journey, thank you. Stories like this remind us, setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel, it makes you free. If you want more real, raw family stories, subscribe to Shattered Bonds. Every week, I share another truth that others are too afraid to say aloud.